Powdered foods seem like the ultimate shortcut. Just add water, stir, and you are done. But for seniors, that convenience could come at a deadly cost. From heavy metal contamination that silently destroys your kidneys to hidden sugars that spike blood pressure without warning, some of America's most trusted brands are poisoning you slowly. Today, we are exposing 9 toxic powdered foods you need to avoid at all costs, plus the 2 that are actually safe for your health. Coming in at number 9, Nesquik chocolate powder. Avoid. You remember it from childhood, that familiar brown canister with the cheerful bunny on the front. Nesquik has been a kitchen staple for decades, promising a quick, delicious chocolate drink that kids and grandkids alike would love. The label shows a glass of creamy chocolate milk. The messaging implies wholesome, innocent enjoyment. But what Nestle does not put on the front of that canister is what should concern you most. When you flip that container around and squint at the tiny print, the truth starts to emerge. The very first ingredient after sugar is cocoa processed with alkali. That processing method strips away up to 90% of the natural antioxidants found in cocoa. So you are getting none of the heart benefits real cocoa might provide. Instead, you are getting a sugar bomb disguised as a treat. A single serving of Nesquik contains around 12 grams of added sugar. That might not sound catastrophic until you realize that the American Heart Association recommends seniors limit added sugar to no more than 25 grams per day for women and 36 for men. One glass of Nesquik before breakfast, and you have already consumed nearly half your daily limit. For seniors managing type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetic conditions, this kind of hidden sugar load can send blood glucose levels into dangerous territory. But the sugar is not the only problem. Independent lab testing has found traces of cadmium in some chocolate powder products, including popular brands marketed to families. Cadmium is a heavy metal that accumulates in the kidneys over time. For seniors already dealing with reduced kidney function, a natural part of aging, adding cadmium exposure through daily chocolate milk is like pouring gasoline on a slow-burning fire. The damage happens silently, over months and years, until one day, your doctor tells you your kidney function has declined, and you do not know why. The betrayal here is profound. Nestle markets Nesquik as a way to get kids to drink more milk, implying calcium benefits and nutritional value. But for seniors who might mix this into their morning routine, thinking they are getting a harmless treat, the reality is a product loaded with processed sugar, stripped of antioxidants, and potentially contaminated with kidney-damaging heavy metals. The sweet, familiar smell of that chocolate powder wafting from the canister brings back memories. But those memories are masking a modern formula designed more for shelf stability and profit than for your health. The powder dissolves quickly, turning your milk a uniform brown, and the taste is sweet, almost too sweet. That aggressive sweetness is your first warning sign. Real cocoa has bitterness. This has none because the nutrition has been processed out and replaced with sugar. At number 8, we have Coffeemate powdered creamer. Avoid. Every morning, millions of Americans reach for that familiar white container. Coffeemate has become synonymous with coffee creamer itself. The brand promises a smooth, creamy addition to your morning cup without the hassle of refrigeration. For seniors living alone or those who do not go through liquid creamer fast enough, the powdered version seems like a practical solution. But practical does not mean safe. Turn that container around and look at what you are actually spooning into your coffee. The primary ingredients include corn syrup solids, hydrogenated vegetable oil, and sodium caseinate. Let me break that down in plain English. Corn syrup solids are essentially dried sugar. Hydrogenated vegetable oil is a source of trans fats, the same artery-clogging fats that have been definitively linked to heart disease, stroke, and increased LDL cholesterol. And sodium caseinate, while a milk derivative, adds sodium to your diet in a place you would never expect it. For seniors managing high blood pressure, and according to the CDC, nearly half of all American adults have hypertension, every milligram of hidden sodium matters. That innocent-looking powder you are stirring into your morning coffee is silently adding to your daily sodium load. Over time, cup after cup, day after day, those milligrams accumulate into a significant cardiovascular burden. The trans fat situation deserves special attention. While the FDA has moved to eliminate artificial trans fats from the food supply, loopholes still exist. Products containing less than half a gram of trans fat per serving can legally claim 0 trans fats on the label. Coffeemate's serving size is tiny. Just 1 teaspoon. Most people use 2 or 3 teaspoons per cup, and many drink multiple cups per day. Suddenly, that 0 on the label becomes a gram or more of trans fat daily, all hidden in plain sight. Independent consumer advocacy groups have raised alarms about this exact issue. The labeling math allows companies to hide dangerous ingredients through manipulated serving sizes. For seniors who trust what they read on packages, this is a calculated betrayal. The texture of Coffeemate powder is fine and white, dissolving into your coffee with a satisfying swirl. It creates that pale, creamy color that makes coffee feel richer. But that visual appeal is manufactured through chemistry, not nutrition. The silky mouthfeel comes from emulsifiers and stabilizers, not from anything resembling actual cream. Here is a question to think about. Why do you think the FDA lets brands use ingredients banned in other countries? Because in much of Europe, these hydrogenated oils face strict restrictions. Yet here in the United States, they sit in nearly every grocery store, marketed with images of steaming coffee cups and cozy mornings. For seniors taking blood thinners or cholesterol medications, the interaction with daily trans fat consumption can undermine your treatment. Your doctor prescribes statins to lower cholesterol, and every morning you are unknowingly adding inflammatory fats back into your system through your coffee ritual. If this helps you stay safer at the store, hit subscribe. It is free and it means you will never miss these exposés. Most people never learn which powdered foods are actually safe, but we will break it down at the end of the video. The alternatives exist, and they could change how you shop forever. But first, you need to see just how deep this problem goes. Now at number 7, Carnation Instant Breakfast Powder. Avoid. This one hurts because it is marketed directly at people who need nutritional support. Seniors recovering from illness, those with poor appetite, and anyone looking for a quick meal replacement. Carnation Instant Breakfast positions itself as a complete balanced nutrition solution. The packaging shows wholesome imagery. The messaging implies you are getting vitamins, minerals, and protein in a convenient powder form. Just mix with milk, and you have got a meal. But what Nestle, the same company behind Nesquik, does not emphasize is that the first ingredient is sugar. Not protein, not vitamins. Sugar. A single packet contains around 18 grams of sugar, which is more than a Krispy Kreme glazed donut. For seniors already struggling with blood sugar management, starting the day with this so-called nutritional drink is setting yourself up for a glucose spike followed by a crash. The protein content, while present, comes largely from the milk you add rather than the powder itself. So the nutritional claims on the package are partially dependent on what you mix it with. If you are using skim milk to watch calories, you are getting even less protein than the label suggests when you factor in bioavailability. Independent nutrition analyses have found that products like Carnation Instant Breakfast contain artificial flavors, maltodextrin, which spikes blood sugar faster than table sugar, and various additives that extend shelf life but do nothing for your health. The vitamins listed on the package are synthetic, added after processing, and research suggests the body does not absorb synthetic vitamins as efficiently as those from whole food sources. For seniors recovering from surgery or illness, adequate nutrition is critical for healing. Relying on a sugar-laden powder instead of real food can actually impair recovery. High sugar intake promotes inflammation, which slows wound healing and weakens immune response. So the product marketed to help you get better might actually be keeping you sick longer. The powder has a beige, sandy appearance and smells faintly sweet even before mixing. When you add milk, it creates a frothy, uniform drink that tastes like a milkshake from childhood. That nostalgic sweetness is engineered to make you want more. But more is exactly what your body does not need. Consumer complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau and posted across health forums describe digestive issues, blood sugar spikes, and disappointment when seniors realized the product was not helping them regain strength. The promise of nutrition, the reality of processed sugar. This is betrayal dressed in a wholesome package. Number 6 on the list. Tang Powdered Drink Mix. Avoid. Tang has one of the most compelling marketing stories in American history. It went to space. Astronauts drank it. The orange powder became synonymous with adventure, achievement, and American innovation. For decades, parents gave it to children thinking they were providing vitamin C, and seniors continued to stock it as a nostalgic pantry staple. But Tang's connection to NASA was always more marketing than mission critical. The space program did not develop Tang. General Foods did. NASA simply included it in early missions because it was shelf-stable and masked the taste of spacecraft water. That is it. The health halo around Tang is pure advertising mythology. What is actually in that bright orange powder? Start with sugar, the primary ingredient. A single 8-ounce glass prepared according to package directions contains around 20 grams of added sugar. Then come the artificial colors, including yellow 5 and yellow 6, which have been linked in studies to hyperactivity in children and may have inflammatory effects in adults. For seniors managing arthritis or chronic pain conditions, artificial dyes can exacerbate inflammation without them ever knowing the source. The vitamin C content that Tang brags about is synthetic ascorbic acid. While technically vitamin C, synthetic forms are not absorbed the same way as vitamin C from actual oranges or other whole foods. Studies suggest bioavailability is lower, meaning your body uses less of what you consume. Meanwhile, you are getting a full day's worth of problems with the sugar and artificial additives. For seniors on blood pressure medications, the potassium content in Tang can interact with certain ACE inhibitors and other cardiovascular drugs. This is rarely disclosed and almost never discussed. Your doctor asks if you are eating bananas, but nobody thinks to mention the Tang habit. The powder itself is almost unnaturally orange, with a chemical brightness that does not occur in nature. When you add water, it fizzes slightly before dissolving into that familiar neon drink. The smell is aggressively citrus, more like cleaning product than fruit. That should tell you something. Does it not feel like grocery stores care more about packaging than what is inside the food? Tang's iconic container has barely changed in 50 years because the brand recognition is worth more than product reformulation. Recent independent testing found trace amounts of concerning compounds in some powdered drink mixes, though specific results vary by batch and testing methodology. The lack of consistent oversight means you are trusting the company to police itself. For seniors whose immune systems and detoxification pathways are not as robust as they once were, even trace exposures matter. Do not go yet. We are not even halfway through the list, and the products coming up might be sitting in your kitchen right now. The solution is coming at the very end, and it could change how you protect yourself forever. Moving to number 5, Swiss Miss Hot Cocoa Mix. Avoid. When the weather turns cold, few things feel more comforting than a warm mug of cocoa. Swiss Miss has been the go-to brand for generations, with those familiar envelopes promising rich, creamy chocolate warmth. The packaging shows snowy scenes and cozy moments. For seniors, it represents comfort, nostalgia, and simplicity. Just add hot water and enjoy. But that simplicity comes at a cost. The ingredient list tells a different story than the peaceful winter imagery. Sugar appears first before any cocoa. Then comes corn syrup. Yes, more sugar under a different name. Hydrogenated coconut oil follows, which is the same type of processed fat found in Coffeemate. Then artificial flavor because real chocolate flavor is apparently too expensive. A single envelope of Swiss Miss Classic contains around 17 grams of sugar. For seniors watching their blood sugar or managing diabetes, that is a significant hit from what is supposed to be a small, innocent treat. The hydrogenated oils add to cardiovascular burden, contributing to the very heart problems that limit so many seniors' quality of life. The cocoa content in Swiss Miss is minimal. What you are mostly drinking is flavored sweetened oil dissolved in hot water. The rich chocolate color comes from processing and additives, not from generous amounts of real cacao. The antioxidant benefits associated with dark chocolate and natural cocoa are almost entirely absent. Independent food safety advocates have raised concerns about the preservatives and emulsifiers in instant cocoa products. Some of these additives can cause digestive distress, particularly in seniors whose gut health may already be compromised. Bloating, gas, and discomfort after that cozy cocoa might not be lactose intolerance. It might be a reaction to the chemical cocktail in your mug. The powder has a uniform brown color and dissolves quickly in hot water, creating a thin, muddy liquid that is nothing like the rich, thick cocoa shown in advertisements. The smell is sweet but flat, lacking the complex depth of real chocolate. The taste delivers sweetness first, with a faint chocolate echo that disappears almost immediately. Consumer Reports describe Swiss Miss as watery, overly sweet, and disappointing compared to childhood memories. But those memories might be deceiving you. Your taste buds were less sophisticated then, and you did not know what you were missing. Real cocoa has depth, bitterness balanced with richness, and a lingering warmth. Swiss Miss has sugar and marketing. For seniors who enjoy a nightly cocoa as part of their wind-down routine, the sugar content can actually disrupt sleep. Blood sugar spikes before bed interfere with the natural sleep cycle, leading to restless nights and groggy mornings. The comfort you are seeking from that warm mug might be sabotaging your rest. What is the worst powdered food you have ever opened? Drop it in the comments below. I want to know what brands have disappointed you. Coming in at number 4, SlimFast Powder Meal Replacement. Avoid. Here is one that has been marketed specifically for weight loss for decades. SlimFast built an empire on the promise of convenient, portion-controlled nutrition that would help you shed pounds without thinking too hard about food. For seniors concerned about weight management, whether for mobility, heart health, or simply looking better, the appeal is obvious. Just drink a shake and watch the weight disappear. But SlimFast's track record tells a more complicated story. The company has changed formulations multiple times over the years, often in response to criticism about nutritional quality. Current versions contain a mix of milk protein, fiber, and vitamins, but also significant amounts of sugar, artificial sweeteners, and additives that raise serious questions. The original SlimFast powder contains around 10 grams of sugar per serving, plus artificial sweeteners like acesulfame potassium and sucralose to boost sweetness without adding calories. This combination creates a product that is sweet enough to be palatable but may confuse your body's hunger signals. Artificial sweeteners have been linked in some studies to increased appetite, weight gain, and disruption of gut bacteria. So, a product designed to help you lose weight might actually be undermining your efforts. For seniors on medications, the ingredient interactions become concerning. The high potassium content in some SlimFast formulations can interact with heart medications and blood pressure drugs. The artificial sweeteners may affect how certain medications are absorbed and metabolized. Your pharmacist might not think to ask about your SlimFast habit when reviewing your prescriptions. The protein quality in powdered meal replacements is another issue. While the label claims a certain number of grams, protein quality varies widely based on source and processing. SlimFast relies heavily on milk-based proteins that some seniors have difficulty digesting. Bloating, discomfort, and poor nutrient absorption can result. Class action lawsuits have been filed against SlimFast and similar meal replacement companies over the years, alleging misleading health claims and inadequate disclosure of risks. The settlements have been quiet, the products continue selling, and most consumers never hear about the legal history behind their favorite diet brand. The powder itself has a uniformly beige or tan color depending on flavor. When you blend it with milk, the texture is chalky and artificial, nothing like the smooth shakes shown in commercials. For seniors replacing real meals with this powder regularly, the nutritional gaps become significant over time. You are not getting the fiber, variety, and phytonutrients that come from whole foods. Your gut bacteria suffer from the lack of prebiotic fiber. Your bones miss the minerals from real vegetables. Why is it always the cheapest foods that seem to cause the most health problems? Coincidence? Or something more calculated? Number 3 is Great Value Powdered Milk by Walmart. Avoid. Powdered milk seems like a practical backup for seniors who do not go through fresh milk quickly. It is shelf-stable, inexpensive, and useful for baking or emergencies. Walmart's Great Value brand is one of the most affordable options available, making it appealing for seniors on fixed incomes watching every dollar. But cheap often has hidden costs. Great Value products are sourced from various suppliers, and quality control has been a persistent concern. Independent testing and consumer reports have raised questions about the purity and freshness of some Great Value powdered milk batches. The milk powder market has faced issues with adulteration, substances added to make the powder seem richer, or to extend shelf life. For seniors, the primary concern with any dairy product is bacterial contamination. Powdered milk is supposed to be safe because it is dried and therefore inhospitable to bacteria. But contamination can occur during processing, packaging, or storage. Salmonella outbreaks have been traced to powdered dairy products multiple times over the past decade. The processing involved in creating powdered milk raises nutritional questions as well. High-heat spray drying can damage some of the protein structures and degrade certain vitamins. What you are reconstituting at home is not the same nutritionally as fresh milk straight from a properly handled dairy. Great Value sources from multiple facilities to keep costs low, which means consistency varies. One batch might come from one processing plant, the next from another. Quality control becomes a game of averages rather than precise standards. For seniors whose health depends on consistent, safe nutrition, this variability is a gamble. The powder has a cream-colored appearance and smells faintly of dairy when dry. Mixed with water, it creates a thin, slightly bluish liquid that never quite achieves the richness of fresh milk. The texture is watery, and the taste has an unmistakable off-note that regular milk drinkers immediately recognize. That off-note is the signature of the high-heat processing. Consumer complaints about Great Value powdered milk include clumping, off flavors, and digestive upset after consumption. Some seniors have reported symptoms consistent with mild food intolerance reactions, suggesting possible contamination or degradation. The savings at the checkout become medical costs later. Ever noticed how these brands keep recalling but never really changing? Tell me about your experience in the comments. At number 2, Nestle Carnation Coffeemate Protein Blenders. Avoid. This newer product from Nestle combines the problems of Coffeemate with the protein powder trend. Marketed as a way to add protein to your morning coffee while enjoying creamy flavor, protein blenders sounds like a smart solution for seniors wanting more protein without extra meals. But once again, the ingredient list tells a different story. Sugar and corn syrup solids appear prominently. The protein source is milk protein concentrate, which sounds wholesome but is a highly processed ingredient that some studies link to digestive issues. The product contains artificial flavors and colors, plus thickeners and stabilizers that have nothing to do with nutrition and everything to do with texture and shelf life. The protein content per serving is modest, around 5 grams, which means you would need to use multiple servings to get meaningful protein intake. Each additional serving adds more sugar, more additives, and more of the problematic ingredients. The math does not work in your favor. For seniors trying to maintain muscle mass, which is critical for mobility, balance, and preventing falls, getting protein from Coffeemate-style products is deeply inefficient. Real protein sources like eggs, Greek yogurt, or lean meat deliver more protein per calorie with none of the added sugars and chemicals. The product dissolves into coffee similarly to regular Coffeemate, with a slightly thicker texture and a sweeter taste. The vanilla and caramel flavors are intensely artificial, masking the coffee you are supposedly enhancing. Some consumers describe the result as more like drinking candy than coffee. Independent nutritionists have criticized products like protein blenders as part of the protein washing trend, where companies add minimal protein to justify health claims while loading up on sugar and additives. The protein label attracts health-conscious consumers, but the overall nutritional profile is worse than having nothing at all. For seniors managing blood sugar, the glycemic impact of the sugar and corn syrup solids undermines any potential benefit from the protein. You spike your blood sugar while consuming a token amount of protein that your body may not even absorb efficiently. The betrayal is complete. And coming in at number 1, Premier Protein Powder. Avoid. This one might surprise you because Premier Protein has positioned itself as a premium, health-conscious brand. The packaging is clean and modern. The marketing emphasizes high protein content, low sugar, and fitness-oriented benefits. Seniors looking for muscle maintenance, post-workout recovery, or convenient nutrition might see Premier Protein as a trustworthy choice. But regulatory actions and independent testing tell a more concerning story. Premier Protein has faced lawsuits over mislabeled protein content, with tests revealing that actual protein amounts were lower than advertised. When you are paying a premium price for premium protein and getting less than promised, that is not just disappointing, it is fraud. More significantly, heavy metal testing has found concerning levels of lead and other contaminants in various protein powder brands, including those marketed as clean and healthy. A Consumer Reports investigation tested dozens of protein powders and found that consuming 3 servings per day of some products would exceed safe lead exposure limits. The protein supplement industry has weaker FDA oversight than conventional foods, creating opportunities for contamination that consumers never learn about. For seniors, lead exposure is particularly dangerous. Lead accumulates in bones over a lifetime, and as bone density naturally decreases with age, stored lead releases back into the bloodstream. Adding new lead exposure through daily protein shakes accelerates this toxic cycle. Symptoms of low-level lead exposure, fatigue, cognitive decline, joint pain often get attributed to normal aging when the cause is actually poisoning. Premier Protein Powder has a smooth texture and mixes well, which is part of its appeal. The flavors taste professional and balanced, without the chalky chemical notes of cheaper brands. This quality makes the betrayal even worse. You trust it because it seems better than alternatives, but the hidden contamination undermines every choice you make. For seniors on kidney protective diets, the heavy metal burden from contaminated protein powders can accelerate kidney decline. For those taking medications that interact with minerals, unexpected lead or cadmium consumption can throw off treatment effectiveness. The product marketed as supporting your health might be quietly destroying it. Recent class action lawsuits against protein supplement companies have resulted in settlements, though rarely with the publicity they deserve. Consumers who were harmed rarely hear about the legal resolutions. The companies reformulate, rebrand, and continue selling. And seniors continue buying, trusting labels that do not deserve that trust. Think about this. If butter can legally contain metal fragments, what else do you think slips through that we do not even hear about? The protein powder industry operates with even less scrutiny than butter production. The unknown risks might be greater than anything we have discussed today. The first safe option is Bob's Red Mill Protein Powder. Safe. After everything we have covered, you deserve to know what actually works. Bob's Red Mill has built its reputation on transparency, quality ingredients, and old-fashioned attention to detail. Their protein powders use simple, identifiable ingredients, often just one or two sources like pea protein or whey, without the additives, artificial sweeteners, and mysterious fillers that plague mainstream brands. Independent testing has consistently found Bob's Red Mill products to be accurately labeled and free from significant heavy metal contamination. The company sources carefully, processes minimally, and packages honestly. What is on the label is what is in the bag, which sounds simple but is revolutionary in this industry. For seniors, the clean ingredient profile means fewer interactions with medications and less burden on kidneys and liver. The protein is bioavailable, meaning your body can actually use it, and the lack of added sugars makes it safe for blood sugar management. You can mix it into smoothies, oatmeal, or plain water without worrying about hidden dangers. The texture is grainier than heavily processed competitors, but that is a sign of minimal processing. The taste is mild and natural, letting you add your own flavors without fighting chemical sweetness. Bob's Red Mill represents what protein powder should be: simple, effective, and honest. The second safe recommendation is Organic Valley Grass Milk. Whole milk powder, safe. For seniors who need powdered milk for convenience or baking, Organic Valley's grass milk. Whole milk powder offers what great value cannot: consistent quality from a single, transparent source. The milk comes from pasture-raised cows that eat grass rather than grain, producing a nutritionally superior product with more omega-3 fatty acids and conjugated linoleic acid. Organic Valley maintains strict quality control with regular testing for contaminants and accurate labeling. The organic certification means no synthetic pesticides, hormones, or antibiotics, chemicals that accumulate in conventional dairy and may cause problems for sensitive seniors. The powder reconstitutes into milk that actually tastes like milk. The richness is genuine, not manufactured through additives. The cream color is natural, not adjusted with whiteners. For seniors managing inflammation, the grass-fed source may actually provide anti-inflammatory benefits rather than contributing to chronic health problems. The price is higher than discount brands, but healthcare costs from contaminated or adulterated food are higher still. Investing in quality ingredients is investing in your health. Organic Valley Grass Milk. Whole milk powder is worth every penny for the peace of mind and genuine nutrition it provides. Do not risk your health on toxic powders that promise convenience but deliver contamination. Your kitchen should be a place of health, not hidden danger. Now you know which powdered foods to avoid and which ones are actually safe. Subscribe now, and if you are watching on TV, tap your remote so you never get blindsided again.